From a ghost mountain to houses that are filled with spiritual energy, here are the top 5 scary Arkansas urban legends. Number 5 in this list is the Arkansas Highway 365. There's quite the tale that surrounds this highway in Arkansas, one that makes driving on it quite scary. Arkansas.com says, years ago a young man was driving down Arkansas 365 south of Little Rock when he saw a young girl on the roadside. He offered to give her a lift and draped his coat over her shoulders because she was cold and soaked from the rain. She gave him directions to her house. When the young man got out of the car and walked around to the other side to help her out of her seat, no one was there. Confused, the man walked up to the house and knocked on the door. A woman answered and she explained what had occurred. She said, "That young girl is my daughter who was killed years ago. She hitchhikes back home once a year." The young man then drove to the cemetery to see the young girl's grave. There he found his coat draped over her tombstone. This is just one of the stories of this young girl, but this happens, as the woman suggested, once a year. Once a year, a good Samaritan who is simply trying to help the young girl will be fooled into driving a ghost around for a few hours. I have no idea how that dude, after getting to the cemetery, was able to get in his car and keep driving after that. Like, the second I saw my coat dangling from the tombstone like that, I would immediately tapped out. I couldn't figure out what time of year this happens at, which is too bad, because then I could have warned you guys, but be aware that it will happen without fail at least once. So if you do see a young girl on the side of the road along this highway, definitely stop to help, but just know you might be picking up a ghost. Number 4 on this list is Mary Walters. The legend of Mary Walters goes hand in hand with the legend and haunting that surrounds Curran Hall. Arkansas.com says, currently the home of the Little Rock Visitors Information Center, the house was originally built by Colonel Ebenezer Walters for his young bride Mary. Mary Walters was never able to see the completed structure as she died in childbirth just before the house was finished. Grief-stricken, Colonel Walters left the state and the house was owned by several different people, some of whom have reported experiencing the presence of Mary Walters. Visitor center staff have also experienced eerie occurrences, including a picture coming off the wall and a coffee machine making coffee with no grounds or water present. Mary Walters apparently haunts this ground now and the areas surrounding it. Nobody really knows what it is that she wants, just that she's here all the time, haunting everyone and everything. I guess she must really be fascinated by the coffee maker though, because that's often a device that she haunts and messes with. Maybe just technology in general is something that gets to her. Considering she never got to see this building get finished, to see it now, totally finished, and also with literal futuristic stuff in it would be kinda crazy. Well, I guess normal stuff for us, but futuristic stuff for her. Either way, she isn't said to be a dangerous ghost, just an annoying one. Be wary if you ever end up at Curran Hall. Mary Walters might be watching. Number 3 on this list is the Clayton House. This has got to be one of the most haunted spots in Arkansas and has developed quite the legend around it. Arkansas.com says, originally serving as the residence for William Henry Harrison Clayton and his family, the Clayton House has also been home to several paranormal experiences. Director Martha Seiler and her employees steer clear of a bedroom on the 2nd floor where the sounds of boots stomping and doors slamming have been heard. In Clayton's study, Seiler and her daughter have both seen an apparition of a woman with gray hair dressed in brown. A carpenter took some pictures while working on the house, and when he got them back, a woman appeared. Paranormal investigators have captured several recordings in the house, including one of a cat meowing and a man yelling an obscenity. When the public was invited on these investigations, a woman reported her hair being tugged and a man saw a person's face. Wow, so there is a lot going on here and a lot to break down. First off, we have the sounds that are coming from the 2nd floor. Boots stamping on the ground and doors slamming. Is this potentially the ghost of William Henry Harrison Clayton expressing his disapproval of something? If so, what is he trying to tell us and why does he seem so mad? Second off, we have the woman who's appearing in the Clayton study. Who is she? Is she the wife of William? And what would have happened to her that has caused her ghost to stay here? I imagine it must have been something pretty tragic. Then we have a carpenter taking pictures and a woman show up in them who wasn't there. Is this the same woman who was in the study, or is this a different woman entirely? And finally, we have some paranormal investigators capturing literal recordings of the ghosts and ghouls who reside here. Also, they captured a cat, too. Don't know if that was just a cat or a ghost cat or like what the cat has to do with it, but now we have to factor that into this mess of a place as well. One big circus of ghosts is what this house is, and the thing that has stumped everyone is why. From my research, I couldn't find any horrific tragedies that went down here. It's just an old house. I guess sometimes it really do just be like that, and this place was just meant to be haunted. Number 2 on this list is the Allen House. What is it with Arkansas and these creepy houses, man? And they all have creepy names too. Like the Allen House. Who the heck would want to stay at the Allen House? Anyways, Arkansas.com says, built in 1906, the Allen House is located along North Main Street and features Gothic-style architecture and wrought iron fencing. The house was planned by local businessman Joe Lee Allen to be the most impressive house the town had ever seen. Unfortunately, in December 1948, the family experienced a grave tragedy. Their daughter, Liddell, consumed mercury cyanide-laced punch in the house's master suite. Out of grief, her mother sealed off the room, and it would not be entered by anyone for nearly 4 decades. During its time as an apartment building in the 1950s, tenants would report eerie occurrences including hazy figures appearing in photographs, furniture being unexplainably rearranged, and several reports of a lady sitting in a turret window. So at least with this house we have a reason as to why it's haunted. In the last one we didn't even know, there wasn't anything clear. I think this one is pretty clear and obvious though. Liddell took her own life in the master suite, and the mother completely sealed off that room, effectively trapping any spirit or paranormal energy in there. Such a tragic story that you never want to hear. Now we can't forget that story either because the paranormal events, and I'm assuming Liddell's spirit, keeps haunting this place. Avoid the Allen House altogether if you're ever in Arkansas. And finally, number 1 on this list is Ghost Mountain. This is definitely the sickest and most twisted story on this list for sure. Arkansas.com says, a tragic story surrounds a mountain southeast of Drake Field Airport in Fayetteville. In the 1930s, a man came home to his wife and child after a long night of drinking. His wife had been up all night caring for the sick child whose incessant crying had made the inebriated father furious. In his anger, he grabbed the baby, stumbled outside, and threw the child down their well. His wife grabbed the well's rope in an attempt to save the baby, but the father cut the rope, leaving the wife and child in the well. The father left town, never to be seen again. Reports have been made that a woman's screams and a baby's crying can still be heard in this location. If this story is true, then my god, this father rivals the most sick and twisted individuals to ever walk this earth. I don't care how drunk you are, to take your kid and to throw your own child, your own flesh and blood into a well, and then have your wife follow that child, and to leave them there. This is the scum of the earth, guys. It's no wonder this place is haunted based on an event like this. My heart just goes out to that child and that wife, and hopefully one day their souls can find peace. But there you have it, guys. That is our list of the top 5 scary Arkansas urban legends. Please let me know in the comments down below what you thought about this list and some other scary urban legends that you may know about. Also, please hit the like and subscribe button. Thanks so much for watching. I've been your host, Nicholas Playlog, and I'll catch you next time.